Nick Jonas, This Is Heaven on BBC Radio Norfolk. Sophie Little here with you right now. If you're a film fan, you're going to want to listen in now. And if you're not, don't worry, we've got you covered this awards season. Last weekend, we saw the BAFTAs, and next Monday evening, the Oscars will be handing out their awards for the best in cinema this year. So to talk through some of this year's nominees, I've got Film East programmer Shelby Cooke here with me. You might have heard Shelby before on BBC Upload. If not, hang tight. We will tell you where to go shortly to catch up on their podcast episodes. But first, let's meet Shelby. Hello.
Hello, how are you doing?
Good, thanks. How are you?
Good.
What are you up to right now, except from obviously talking to us? Where are you?
I'm actually at work right now with the door locked and the lights off so no one comes in.
Oh, hiding. I like it.
Yeah, I'm hiding.
Hopefully we won't blow your cover. Thank you so much for coming on to do this tonight. So before we get into our film breakdown, I wondered whether you could tell us a bit about Film East for those that don't know, and your role with Film East as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So Film East is essentially a young film programmers group that we have in Norwich. Essentially, our aim is to get young people out into the cinema. So that hasn't really been able to happen since we started, obviously, with COVID, because we started just at the beginning of 2020. So we've done a lot of online stuff as well. So we have an online blog that we welcome contributors for. So everyone's welcome to submit a pitch to us, and they can write about a film that they love or a TV show that they love. But yeah, hopefully going forward, we're looking to get some more screenings in so we can get some more people into the cinema and actually watching films and learning more about films and engaging with them in creative and passionate ways.
Where does your love of film come from, Shelby?
I mean, I kind of grew up with film, so I think I'm a bit of a shy person and a bit more of an introvert, so I kind of always gravitated towards films as being like friends and being able to live out those life experiences that, you know, kind of my shyness was taking away. So it's always been, films have always been really a part of me, and I've always just really enjoyed living in the different worlds and exploring different cultures through, you know, just being able to watch something in my bedroom at night, you know, without actually having to leave my house, and that's always been such a magical thing for me.
So tonight we're going to focus on 3 of the Best Picture nominees at next week's Oscars. And I wondered, before we get into that, overall as a film fan, how much do you look forward to awards season?
It's quite interesting. I think when I first started out as a film fan, I always was really like big on the Oscars, and really like I would get all dressed up and sit in my house and pretend like I was at the Oscars. But sort of more I've progressed in my film education and my film career, I started to kind of move away from them. But I think this year is a really interesting year because it's super exciting because, unfortunately, with 2020, a lot of the films that were supposed to be released weren't actually able to be released. So a lot of the big, as we call them, award-baited movies weren't able to come out and weren't able to be considered for this year. So what actually we have for this year is this great group of films that are very diverse and very exciting and very unique and original. And it's not just the same, you know, 3 faces that you see at every award show. So, you know, Meryl Streep isn't there. It isn't George Clooney. It's not Brad Pitt. You know, it's these really new up-and-coming filmmakers, up-and-coming actors, and it's just a really exciting group of people that are making really amazing films. So I think this year is going to be really exciting. I really enjoyed a lot of the films from this year. So yeah.
So we're going to talk about 3 films tonight. Which one would you like to start with?
We can start with Sound of Metal. So for anyone who hasn't seen it, Sound of Metal is directed by Darius Marder, and it's essentially about this drummer. His lifelong passion is to be a drummer called Ruben. He's played by Riz Ahmed, and he begins to go deaf. And the whole film focuses around his journey of accepting his deafness and accepting how his life has to change now and sort of embracing this disability that he has rather than allowing it to ruin his life. And this one is really, really interesting because it does really engage with that diversity and inclusion that we hope to see a lot more in films. So the cast is actually made up of deaf and disabled people. which you really don't see very often. Obviously, Riz Ahmed isn't deaf, but he went through this very rigorous training of, talking with people who do have disabilities and learning about the disability and really trying to engage in it in a way that was the most authentic way that he could. And so that really makes it really rich in this accuracy and this depiction of a disability, which a lot of times, sometimes Hollywood films can really miss the mark on that. So I believe you have a clip which is about the sound design. So this really what I think the film's going to win most at the Oscars is anything to do with sound and editing. So the film really focuses in on being able to create this environment of as if you are living as a deaf person. So it has this really amazing sound design that really allows you to feel the anxiety and the overwhelming sensations that Ruben would feel as he's going through this experience of losing his hearing.
Let's have a listen to this clip.
Say again? Oh, sounds weird. How about now? Oh, that's better. Keep going.
So that is a clip from Sound of Metal, Shelby. That is really evocative, isn't it? It makes a lot. You feel a lot as you listen to that.
Yeah, there's definitely this really big contrast in the sort of silence that Ruben hears, and this sort of, you're really pushing your hearing in order to understand what people are saying. And then the very next segment is he's at a party. So you get this really big, overwhelming sensation of sound that's just really upsetting to you. It's very, makes you feel very claustrophobic. And that's, what a lot of these people who have these fitted hearing aids, would probably experience if they're not used to it or it's on the wrong setting. It's this really fantastic portrayal of disability, and it's paired off perfectly with Riz Ahmed. I mean, he just had a really exceptional year in 2020, and I'm like his biggest fan. I'm obsessed with him. I think he's really incredible and definitely going to be doing a lot more great things in the future.
I love Riz Ahmed. And what's his band? What's his band called? Oh, it's going to
I'm not sure.
I'll have a look. I'll look it up. Yeah, he's a great musician as well. And that's already won, hasn't it? Best editing and best sound at the BAFTAs, I believe.
Yes. It's expected to take home any of the sound categories because it is just really this exceptional use of sound.
Amazing. Well, shall we move on to our next film? What would you like to talk about next?
I think we can talk about both of the next films because they kind of go together quite well. So the next film is Minari and Nomad Land, which Nomad Land is the really big one. That's what people are really expecting to win. And I kind of grouped these two together because they kind of both share similar themes of this sort of underappreciated American spirit. So it's particularly in the time when America feels really dark and full of hate. These two films really bring this lightness and this beauty to remind us of the American spirit that we hopefully one day can go back to. So it really brings out these fundamentals of a nation that the nation was built on, and the love of humanity and nature and purity for the human spirit. So for anyone who hasn't seen, Minari is about a Korean family who immigrates to the U.S. in the 1970s. And the dad's dream is to build a farm in America. And he wants to begin planting and cultivating Korean foods and build this sort of Korean farm empire in America. So obviously that really captures the essence of the American dream. So that's essentially what the American dream is. But it's really, I would say, more of an authentic American dream than the white picket fence, because it's really talking about immigrants, and America is a country that is built on immigrants, And it's about immigrants coming to this new frontier and finding their dreams and their passions and being able to fulfill those dreams. It's this really, really beautiful film. It's very sweet. It's very funny. The young boy in it who plays the youngest son of the family is just the sweetest little kid on the planet. He's been making all of the rounds during the award season. He's just so adorable. And he's really sweet. But I don't have any clips for that one because that one's probably a bit difficult to translate over the radio because it's all in Korean. But so leading on to the next one is Nomad Land. And that one is really the one that a lot of people are going to put the money on for winning Best Picture. So Nomad Land is a film about a woman in her 60s who, after losing her husband and after the recession in 2008, just becomes a nomad. So she buys an RV and she just travels around America and doesn't have a house and just lives on the ground, on the landscape. Frances McDormand plays the main character, Fern, and she's really amazing. And again, like we saw with Sound of Metal, it's really populated, the cast is populated with actual real nomads. So it really brings this great authenticity to this part of American identity that we're not used to seeing. But these very sweeping, beautiful American landscapes really remind you of the beauty that America can be. And I think kind of the biggest thing with Nomadland is the director is a woman. Her name's Chloe Zhao. So she's nominated for Best Director. So she'll be just one of 7 women who have ever been nominated for Best Director at the Oscars. So that's over 100 years of the Oscars, and only before this year, only 5 other women have been nominated.
Wow.
And there's two actually nominated this year. So that's really exciting. So again, it's going back to that, we weren't able to have those big blockbuster films this year. So what we get is these really wonderful films about, that are directed by women. So it's really great. We're really rooting on Chloe Zhao. She's probably going to win Best Director. And she's going to be the first non-white person to be nominated and to win, most likely, a Best Director award.
We've got a clip of Nomadland. Should we have a listen to it?
Yes.
Here we go.
One of the things I love most about this life is that there's no final goodbye. I've met hundreds of people out here, and I don't ever say a final goodbye. I always just say, I'll see you down the road. And I do. And whether it's a month or a year or sometimes years, I see them again. And I can look down the road and I can be certain in my heart that I'll see my son again. You'll see Bo again. And you can remember your lives together then.
It's a particularly emotional clip there from Nomadland, Shelby.
Yes, that the actor who's the man who's giving that monologue there is actually a real nomad. So he's one of the people that they found while they were making the film, and he just delivers, I think, probably one of the most poignant and memorable moments in the entire film. It's very iconic monologue that comes out of the film. So again, it really functions as it's sort of almost like a documentary in a way, but a documentary that is fiction. So.
With all of these films and all of the other nominees in consideration, do you have any bets you'd place on who you think will grab Best Picture and why?
I do think Nomadland will win Best Picture. I sure hope it does. I think, again, with Chloe Zhao being this amazing, incredible female director, I think the Oscars are really pushing for more diversity in their wins. And I think this year is jam-packed full of diverse films that are really interesting and probably films that we as mainstream audiences probably wouldn't have been exposed to had it not been for, unfortunately a lot of the cinemas closing and a lot of the films being delayed. So it's quite exciting. I don't think had 2020 not panned out the way that it did, I don't think Nomadland probably would have been as high up in the award circuit, if even in the award circuit at all. So it's really exciting. We hope to see some female power win at the Oscars this weekend, or next week, sorry. But yeah, I think other than that, I would want Sound of Metal just because I have a personal love for Riz Ahmed, but
I wonder as well, are there any films you've seen this year that aren't nominated that you think should have been or that we should go and watch?
Definitely. So Saint Maud, which was a British film that was actually at the
What was it called?
the
Sorry,
BAFTAs.
I missed that.
Saint Maud. Saint
Okay.
Maud. That one that was at the BAFTAs. I'm not sure if it won anything, but that one was really a fantastic film. That was really like creepy and weird, and it might not be for a lot of people, but it was, it was a really interesting film either way. And I'm blanking on the last Rocks, which is a British film.
Okay.
It's this really fantastic film. It's all about, it's all created by women, and it's about young girls growing up in London. And it's just this really, it's quite sad, but it's really a lovely film, and I wish it would have gotten more recognition outside of the BAFTAs. But, it's a really great film, and it's still fantastic that it got nominated at the BAFTAs.
Shelby, I mentioned earlier that you've done film discussions for us on BBC Upload on a Saturday evening, which we love. People can find them over on your site, but can you tell us what the address is?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's film-east.com/BBC-upload. So they'll all be there. It's uploaded regularly every time we're on the show. And then also if you click through to the videos, it'll take you to our YouTube channel, which all the videos are there as well.
Fantastic. Shelby, thank you so much for coming on tonight and giving us a
Yeah,
little
thank you for
preview.
having me.
This has been brilliant. And I'll let you get back to work now, hopefully.
All right.
Hopefully you haven't barricaded yourself in. You can get out.
I know I'll just have to move everything out of the way of the door so no one can, so people can see that someone's in here.
Shelby, thank you. Catch up with you soon.
Yeah, bye. Have a good one.
Bye. Bye, Shelby. Right then, let's have a track now. And don't forget, we've got music coming up after 9 with Cy Holden. This is Flow Rider.